What's up, everybody? It's the Rosalie Elliott Show. We go around the world to listen to music, to dive into the psychology and philosophy thereof, to find education, encouragement, and so much more. So let's dive in. It is time to check out more of by the band Freeze the Fall and their song Masquerade, which came out just a few months ago. Shout out today goes to Jim for making that suggestion via donation on buymeacoffee.com. If you want to bring a song to my attention and you really want to see what I have to say, how to analyze, review, and react to it, let me know on buymeacoffee.com. Please make sure to check out the requirements. I've only done one Freeze the Fall song so far, and I was very impressed. They are a group of young kids, young adults at this point, who are really good at what they do. And they put out a song called Masquerade. I don't know anything about it, but I will check it out with you. Are you ready? Subscribe, and here we go.
Personalities like a deck of cards. Shuffle, reshuffle, then deal them out accordingly.
The harmonies are dope.
Golden green, cover up, listen for me, so no one can see that. It's a masquerade, so dance the night away. Sounds and calls will hide uncertainty. Twirl for me, smile through tears and prove you're so lucky. Though your heart breaks through it all. Afraid to close my eyes. We're too scared to keep them open. World's expectations high. No line between grief and greed. They say I'm too much. They say I'm not enough. I say all the same down here. They know they're too much. They know they're not enough. And on it goes. It's a masquerade. So dance the night away. Sounds and calls will hide uncertainty. Twirl for me, smile through tears and prove you're so lucky. Though your heart breaks through it all.
I don't even want to pause. I don't know if you can tell. I'm like, should I say something? I don't want to pause. I'm going to keep going. They are good, you guys. The harmonies. I love the minor chords that they're using here. It adds a level of eeriness and somber reflection, right? It changes. That's what we're all about, psychology. The chords we use, the notes that we play, the way that we bring in harmonies and unison, they affect us. And of course, it varies from person to person, right? Beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. We all have our own experiences. But minor chords, we know this, often will create either a level of eeriness or sometimes bring in more emotionality versus major chords being more used for upbeat or joyful and such and so on and so forth. But I love how they're integrating that and how there's almost like this veil, like the way that they're sliding into certain notes adds to this feeling of hiding. It fits in my mind when I think of masquerade, hiding behind a mask when you're trying to conceal something. But when I think of masquerade, it also makes me think of something elegant and playful and mysterious. And the way they're sliding into the notes works well with that. There's not as much staccato when it comes to the singing. There's sliding. There is beautiful transition. There are harmonies. It pulls you in. It adds to the feeling of mysteriousness. And then you have the drums, though. And he's killing it on the drums, by the way. And he's bringing in the staccato and the intensity. And so you have this beautiful dance between the intense drums and the e-guitar, bringing in the trauma, bringing in the passion, the aggression, and the what is the word? The intensity. But then you have the way that they're sliding into notes, the way that she went high with her voice at one point, the harmonies that bring in an element of elegance, mystery, and magic here. And of course, the video also adds to that perception. We have the lights in the back. We have their beautiful outfits, the pearl necklace, the makeup. We have the masquerade masks that the drummer is wearing that add to how we're perceiving this. Of course, it's not just what we hear, it's what we see, it's how we feel at a given time. But it's cool to me. This is a song. There's a band that I was thinking of. It was two or three chicks I used to listen to, and I can't think of the name right now. And they would be big on harmonies and rock, and it was just fun and unique or beautiful or poignant lyrics. And they remind me of them in the way, even though they're doing things in their own way. I'm not comparing in a sense of they're like them, more so as a point of reference. But these guys I have a feeling they might go real far. Wow. Wow. Yo, you guys are fire. Oh my gosh. The mom in me is coming out on this one. And I'm just thinking to myself, keep going, you guys. Keep going. If you have any haters over the course of time, ignore them or just build your empire on their backs. Let it build your algorithm. Let it build your fame. This is my message to the Freeze the Fall, by the way. And to anyone that wants to create like this, right? If you find yourself being compared or tempted to compare yourself, well, we're not as famous as these guys yet, or we want to be more like them, or other people say, there's enough rock bands out there. Do not listen. Do not listen to those voices. Keep playing Freeze the Fall. Keep going. These guys are awesome. And I love, experiencing these rock bands. And towards the end, I was thinking it is so cool that there are all these different bands who are, even if there's similarities, who are still unique in their own right and are bringing in their own unique compositions, lyrics, songs. Yes, we influence one another. That's just a fact. There's nothing new under the sun. As if we want to claim something completely our own, I think we are lying to ourselves or just stupid, right? There's nothing when we look at lineage and DNA and heritage, we can see that we're all related. At some point, somebody migrated to somewhere and we are influencing one another. Our cultures, our music, our language, our shades of brown. It's beautiful. And I see the same thing in music, right? I'm watching these three and I'm thinking of The Warning and that sister trio. And I'm thinking of this other band I was talking about earlier, whose name I can't remember right now. And there's similarities in regards to maybe rock style, subgenre. And it would be so easy, at least for the haters in the world, to think, well, we already have this band and this other band does it similarly. And my encouragement, not only to Freeze the Fall, but to any one of you who wants to create would just be shut those voices up. Keep creating because you still are unique. You still are you. You could be doing the same thing I'm doing and it's still not going to be the same because you're not me and you have something unique to offer. And that's what I feel about Freeze the Fall. This trio, these young kids creating, putting themselves out there. And the lyrics are deep. We're not even talking about that yet. To create instead of just consume and waste away. And it's encouraging to see, the next generation doing that. But it also makes me think, man, if there's ever any haters or any critics, shut those voices up. Just build your empire on their backs. And if there's ever any insecurity of, well, are we good enough? Yeah, man. Yes, you are. Keep going. Keep going. This got me hyped. I love this song. So again, the musical composition, I love the intensity that the drums brought in, the rhythmic elements, that staccato. You got that good rock. We just got some fun rock. But then what she did with her voice and the way that they would bring in the harmonies and the way that they would slide into some of these notes, the use of minor notes, as I mentioned, they added to the emotional aspect. It pulled me in. but it set the stage for something that's beyond, wow, let's have a good time, right? It set the stage for, we need to talk about some deeper things here. There's emotion involved, and that's perfect for this channel. Let's be straight up. Masquerade by Freeze the Fall. We change personalities like a deck of cards. Shuffle, reshuffle, then deal them out accordingly. Okay, so I like that imagery here of a masquerade, because when I think of masquerade balls, again, their whole setting, the music video was perfect for that, and I like how that all tied together. That too impacts how we perceive things. I like how they are now speaking of deck of cards, because that's what I imagine these masquerade balls to be, right? Masks, cocktails, beautiful clothing, pretty people, games, poker games, card games going on, entertainment. It's this presentation of something elite, right? Elegance, masks, fun, cards. But here, this play on the deck of cards, because it speaks of going through those personalities, changing it, like shuffling, reshuffling. We keep changing our personality. Our masks, dazzling gold and green, cover up this sin for me so no one can see that. Ooh, and that too is very accurate, right? People hiding behind masks of personalities. Sometimes that is a trait of a certain personality types, to want to appear successful or be unique or be loved, and therefore trying to be to people what you think they need you to be. But a lot of times I think many people, regardless of personality type, fall into that, especially in our day and age of social media and feeling like there's eyes everywhere, where we're making it look like it's dazzling, we're switching it all up, but we're covering up sin. There's something rotten or evil or unhealthy hiding behind it. It's a masquerade, so dance the night away, right? Let's just have fun. Let's just dance the night away. Everything is fine, if you will. Suits and pearls will hide uncertainty. Ooh, twirl for me. That part stood out to me because it makes me think of, even from a young age, how, kids are taught, hey, smile or twirl, show me your pretty dress, make a twirl for me. And we show ourselves and we go in circles. And that aspect is interesting, because a twirl is going in a circle around yourself. And that is kind of symbolic, because we are often going in circles when we put on these masks and we play these games. But we're also going in circles around ourselves. It all revolves around me, me, me. But we're twirling. We're trying to present ourselves a good way. We want to look good on all sides. There's different ways to take that idea of a twirl. But it's also an expectation to say to somebody, twirl for me. Smile through your tears, right? When someone is told, hey, you look prettier when you smile. I've been told that. It's freaking annoying. I understand if someone wants to say, hey, your smile is pretty, but it's another thing when you're tired or sad and you don't want to smile, to be told, hey, you're prettier that way. So what, are we ugly when we're sad? Are we ugly or less than when we're angry, right? We categorize emotions, what's good and what's acceptable, what's not, because it's uncomfortable and it's hard to sit with the hard stuff. It says here, smile through your tears, prove you're so lucky. Fitting to that idea of deck of cards. So the lingo here is very fitting throughout the song, though your heart breaks through it all, okay? So we're talking about people that are hiding behind masks, hiding their heartache and their sins, afraid to close my eyes, yet too scared to keep them open. That too interesting to me, because when you're afraid to close your eyes, to me that makes me think that either you're afraid to close your eyes as in go to sleep, perhaps because there will be nightmares and demons and struggles that you now have to face behind those closed eyes, in your mind, within yourself. Right? You close your eyes and you can no longer see what's going on around you. So you also may not feel as safe anymore. You can't perceive what's happening around. Different ways we can take that. But then to say, I'm afraid to close my eyes, but too scared to keep them open. Too scared to walk through life with eyes wide open. So there's fear for both options. Because having your eyes open would also mean you have to face what's really going on. World's expectations high. No line between grief and greed. Ooh, I like that alliteration here, grief and greed. But also to say what the world expects of us is so severe. It's so much. There's no clean line, no line between grief and greed. At what point are we grieving and hurting? And at what point are we greedy and selfish? And this is powerful and goes beyond just the words grief and greed and what they mean. I also think of that dichotomy between, say, for example, when you're really hurting, you want someone to see you and validate your emotion. You don't want them to say you're just being a victim. Right? You don't want to feel like you're going crazy, like something's wrong with you if you're hurting. But then there also is this fine line of, at what point is it now turning into self-pity? At what point do we need someone to say, hey, I see you, I know you're hurting, but hey, let's do something about it, or let's practice gratitude, or let's make a change. At what point is my tears and my need for validation now turning into greed for pay attention to me? I'm sad, I'm hurting. There is a dance to all of this. Same with anger. It's not a bad emotion. It's a messenger. You got to be present to your body. And there's things you can do to, as we learn from neurologists and psychotherapists, there's things we can do even physically to center ourselves and to, help with our nervous system and the way things flow. Different things we can do somatically, cognitively, in our mind, the way we think, how that affects our feelings. Literally things you can do with your breathing to regulate your breathing, to lower your heart rate. Or as we're learning now, places on your body you can touch to just focus pressure points. Everything is connected. It's powerful. It's beautiful. And there's a need to work through that, through the anger, through the uncomfortable emotion. But there is always that dance. And with greed and grief, there seems to be no line. Where are we here in this mixed up, confused world? And another example, I guess, would be social media, where you have people that are actually dealing with injustices that perhaps talk about it or want to be seen. They're grieving, they're hurting. But now it turns into a scheme. Now you have people who are going, oh, look at me. My life is hard. Or look at me. I'm on the margin. Or for whatever reason, their grief is coming to the masquerade ball, if you will, the camera, the social media. And now it's turning into greed because now it's becoming a money-making machine and they have to uphold that persona. If they now become a free, independent, happy, healthy person, where are the views going to go, right? If it was all built on their suffering or if it was built on their scandal or on their intensity. You say I'm too much. You say I'm not enough. Here, that a contrast of the things that we feel. We're being told the expectations. You're too much. You're not enough. It's never enough. I say we're all the same down here. Interesting also, right? Deep down here. They know they're too much. They know they're not enough. And on it goes. That cycle. So it's not just people putting those expectations on us. It's also that they know it. They know it. They have that same fear. We're all the same at the end. And then it goes back to the title, to the chorus. And then I like that part in the bridge, 1, 2, 3. And I like how things slow down, how the drums and that rhythmic element was present, was fitting to the counting. But to say 1, 2, 3, is this what it means to be? And, the rhyme scheme here is fun and is playful. Makes me think of kids' rhymes, right? Oh, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, the thing we do as teachers even to get kids to focus on us. But the second she said that, it also made me think of the countdown of a camera. The countdown of 3, 2, 1, action, right? Or when you're trying to take a selfie and you have to set the timer. Is this what it means to be? And I like that. That's the sentence, that it's not, is this what it means to be loved, seen, alive, special, unique? I like that there is no adjective after that, simply saying, is this what it means to be? Is this what being, which we are, human beings, is this what existing is about? 4, 5, 6. We just bury ourselves for kicks. So we're hurting ourselves. We're burying ourselves. We're hiding behind the masquerade. But it goes beyond, I'm just hiding for a moment to come back out. I'm burying myself. I'm getting lost in that persona or in this game, in this masquerade. It's a masquerade. And so it goes back to the chorus and ends with, I know it's hard to stand tall, but they were there, but they wear their masks and dance on. So we're expected to cry. It's hard to stand tall, but they dance on. And I think there's ultimately different ways we can take this. It can be calling out the social media world and all the masks and filters and games that we play. And that struggle, right? People are becoming more and more lonely, more and more isolated because there's a lack of connection, right? For one, it's the camera. We're literally not physically together. But also, there's so much we can present that people don't see, right? You see me behind the camera. You don't know the rest of the room. You're not here with me. And then it also adds to the fact that because of our swulture, our swipe culture, where things are just moving faster and faster, it's hard to work through the hard, right? Relationships are work. And they're not just supposed to be heavy and hard all the time. They're also hopefully meant to bring you joy and peace, but they're also meant to help us grow if it's a genuine one. And that takes time. That takes working through things, having long conversations, being intimate, being honest, being humble and willing to hear the other person out. And that is less and less the case when people are just arguing, fighting, debating with strangers that they don't know, or we are not with someone long enough, because we can just leave a comment and keep swiping, right? And feel the way we feel and feel validated, or the algorithm will feed us what we want to hear and the way we're leaning. And it creates isolation, but it also loses accountability and actual intimacy and growth where we're all behind these masks. I think it can also relate, especially for them being young kids, to the pressure they may be experiencing at school or on the workforce, where people are hiding their sins, they're hiding their true identities, and it makes everyone else feel like they're not safe to take off that mask too, afraid to close their eyes, afraid to keep them open. I love this song because from a musical composition, it's absolute fire. This is the type of song I just would want to blast or show my daughter and have her blast, or just jam out to while I'm driving somewhere. It is musically very well made. The music video is fun, but the musical composition is really good. I'm impressed at how good these kids play and sing. But from a lyrical standpoint, I also think it's really deep because it's written in a way that we all can take it in some shape or form. We all can pull something out of this and say, okay, how does this apply to me? How can I work on being brave enough to close my eyes and find peace, or open my eyes and deal with what's in front of me? How can I dare to take off that mask? What's going to happen if I do? And that takes wisdom, right? When and how and where, and to find a way to be yourself and to continue to grow. Freaking cool song. Freeze the Fall, keep going. What did you guys think? What is this song? How did this feel to you experiencing this? If this is the first time you heard this, go to Freeze the Fall, subscribe to them. Let them know on their song that I sent you. I want them to really see, and I want artists in general to see that the reactor community is out here to support them as we're having a good time listening to music and we're trying to add intellectual property and analysis and education to the videos. I want to help these artists grow. So go subscribe to them. Go check them out. Let them know that I sent you. And encourage them to keep going. And you guys do the same. Take off the mask. Be you. You are not too much. You are more than enough. I hope you know you're loved and you matter. I will see you on the next ride. Ayo!